My name is Stephen Davis. I'm the creator, founder of a new command-driven VR concept for Operation Stealth Citadel Command. I'm just your regular dad sitting at home, retired. Have a whole lot of things going on, and I lost my son in a car accident last year, and he and I used to do a lot of gaming, and he was living in Chicago. I live here in Atlanta, and one of our ways of communicating and staying in touch, we get on the game systems together and just do a lot of gaming. And we often talked about what was missing in game development or in game design, and it was that feeling of responsibility inside of a game.
Yeah.
Responsible for exactly what was going on, and we like strategy. Personally, he liked beating me up playing Madden and stuff like that. But I was more into strategy games. I started gaming probably when I was 5, 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was a club manager, and he would take me to the club with him in the morning when he would go in to do the books and make sure that everything was getting cleaned up and doing his regular club manager stuff. And he would give me a roll of nickels. This is going to be funny to the younger generation, but he would give me a roll of nickels and put me at a pinball machine because it only cost a nickel to play them back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And while he was doing that, he left me on the pinball machine to keep the 5, 6-year-old kid occupied.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with pinball machines. But I played this game called Stratego with my uncles, and they taught me how to play that as I started getting older. And that's where my strategy stuff started coming in. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Of course, I graduated to Risk. A whole lot of kids play Risk. From there, just kept growing, and I stayed in gaming. And then during the pandemic, I got into virtual reality. I started playing a lot of virtual reality. And that's when I started discovering, all of these strategy type games, once you know how to play the game, they're not as much fun.
Yeah.
Because everything is consistent and you know exactly where to go. And the repeatability is basically gone.
Mm-hmm.
And every unit that you deploy kind of does the same thing. There's no individualization or any of that kind of stuff. I was just looking for something with more depth. And during my development stages, after my son was transitioned already, I would subconsciously talk to him while I was building, because I was like, I'm gonna build something that I want to play.
Mm-hmm.
I would get to a point in there, I'd be like, I wonder what he would do here, and then process through that and come up with, oh, okay, I could do this. And I started designing, developing, and it actually, what started off as a VR game for me turned into, this is way more than what I thought I was doing. It just got big, and I'm at a point now where I've got it built out. I've talked to I haven't actually built the game because my skills are not there.
Mm-hmm.
My background is I have 3 degrees, one in automotive service, which is where I worked at primarily my whole life, doing logistics and automotive service and transportation. And I got laid off, and at one point I went back to school while I was laid off I said, let me get into computers. So I got a degree in computer networking. And just as I was graduating, my old job called me back and was like, you know what, we need you back. And entry level with the degree paid probably half of what I was going to get going back to my old job. So of course I didn't go do that stuff. I went back to the old job, and probably 5 years back on the job, I got laid off again. At that point, I'm like, networking ain't really what I want to do. I think I want to do database design. So I learned databases, and again, another 2 years of school, about the time to graduate. Guess who calls me? The old job. It's like, man, we need you back. So, and at that point, I had moved from Atlanta back to Michigan, which is where I'm from. And I was like, man, I'm up in Michigan. I can't come back. And they said, well, what if we pay for you to come back?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like, "You gonna pay me to come back, and you
Mhm.
gonna pay all my moving expenses, and put me up in an apartment for 2 months, and give me my old salary back?" And they was like, "Yep." And I was like, "I'll be there."
Yeah.
So I went back to the job, and again, another degree that I'm not using, and I stayed there in that field till retirement, which was in 2020. I just got back into doing games and
Mhm.
doing what I love to do.
You had brought up Risk. That was the first game that I had thought of when you had said that was Risk. I mean, I play Risk, to this day. So I mean,
Yeah.
like that game has sort of stood the test of time. The only other game, as far as like strategy and things like that, that would have been more in depth would have been something like a Dungeons and Dragons or something. But
Even for me, that was that role playing
yeah,
and I may would have been able to get into Dungeons and Dragons back in the day if them guys weren't so costumey and into the characters. No, I just
yeah,
wasn't. It didn't feel like my lane.
mm-hmm.
What what I associated it with was World of Warcraft. You
Warcraft,
familiar
yeah,
with that one? Now I played a lot of World of Warcraft on the PC when it first came out, and I know now it's gone 15, 20 stages past where it was at when I was playing.
yeah,
But and again, all of that stuff is like first person character build.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I'm not into like first person shooters. I'm not into moving a character around on the board and doing all of that stuff. I what I designed was a like I said, it's command driven.
Mm-hmm.
So you're inside. You could picture yourself as a general
Mm-hmm.
in a war.
Okay,
They never see the battlefield.
yeah,
They sit they sit back somewhere
yeah,
giving commands, looking at a map, moving, pieces around on them. I designed something from that aspect,
mm-hmm.
but you have an active war table.
Yeah,
And when you deploy on the war table, they actively deploy on the battlefield.
gotcha.
And but once you send a unit out, you don't get to go over there and move them and go, nah, don't go there, go over there. When you make a decision and the type of unit that you decide that you're going to send, you're stuck. I mean, it could have been the right place, but the wrong unit.
Yeah,
If you send the wrong one in to the right place, he's ultimately going to fail.
hmm.
But if you send the right one to the right place, mission accomplished. And all of my units have like different responsibilities. They do different things. So, but in order to win, you have to got to get them you working together. I tell you and this because I'm a big Star Trek head too. So I don't know if you're familiar with or ever heard of this scenario called the Kobayashi Maru. It's a situation where they put you're in command, you're the captain of the starship, and they're in a no-win situation. There's attacks, there's environment, there's stuff happening on the ship that's causing damage, there's enemy coming in. You're in a no-win situation, and they want to see how you react in a no-win situation. I created a no-win situation in this whole game ideal that you can win, but you've got to make the right decisions. If you make bad choices, and I just give you one active scenario that I've played it over and over in theory,
Mm-hmm.
but you can go all out on the map with aggressive forces and go all out in one direction and maybe get through. But because you did that on the first stage, when you try to do that again on the second stage, the AI already knows that tactic
Gotcha. Yeah.
and it counters it. If you make that push on the first map heavily that way before you can reach the command center on the other side, the AI will have adapted to that tactic
Gotcha.
already and will start putting things in place to counter that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want to do. So you'll see that if you try to go heavy one way or heavy the other way, the AI is gonna react to what you're doing.
So you got to be basically like you said, make smart decisions at all times,
Right,
pretty much
right,
in the game. That's pretty
right.
cool.
John, they trying to do the same thing to you.
Right,
So
right.
yeah.
Interesting. What was the process behind putting it on VR? Because obviously VR is still it's been out for, a while now, but it's still sort of with
Right.
technology. And what behind that decision of, wanting to put it in VR and wanting to have that sort of, I guess, at the forefront?
And again, like I said, when I first started building, I was building this for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I play massive amounts of VR. I play Golf Plus. I play this game called Brass Tactics. I play Green Hell mostly. There's VR. I used to be a flat screen gamer,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't have the emotional draw
Yeah.
to it that you can get in
It's not
VR.
as immersive. Yeah.
Yeah, that immersive feeling that you get in VR, I just love it. And like I said, once you figure out how to beat a system, it's not as much fun to go back and do it again because
Yeah.
you find yourself cheating the system because you know how to beat it.
Right, right,
You
right.
know, and Brass Tactics is one of those games that I fell in love with when I first started playing it. It's a PC VR game now, and it's an older game,
Mm-hmm.
and it was on Meta, and Meta is just not supporting that game as much as they used to. So it's old technology, and a lot of people have like newer systems and everything that are getting into gaming, and the newer systems don't run that old software.
Do you think is I guess preventing it? Obviously, extra money, you kind of getting that or a system console or something. But like what sort of you think is gonna, make that shift to where more people are gonna want to play VR? Because
It's slower growth, but it's funny that you asked me that question because I was just recently doing research on why. Because, like I said, I don't understand why there's not more people playing it.
mm-hmm.
And I went to a VR introduction to VR thing yesterday here in Atlanta. That it was kind of funny, but the guy advertised that he was doing, teaching people how to use VR
Mm-hmm.
down at this hotel and it was free entry. And so I went down there to go check it out to see and do a reconnaissance mission.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got down there, I found out that this is not a VR convention. It was what they called the Flurry convention was going on. And that's a bunch of guys, bunch of people dressed up in furry animal cos- costumes and that VR presentation was part of that, and you had to pay for the flurry thing to get into the event.
Everybody in that dressed up like foxes and
Oh yeah, foxes and rabbits. But I went ahead and paid for it because I wanted to go in there and I convinced myself. Now I'm here. I'm going. What do I need to do? So I paid for the convention and made my way back to. And amazingly enough, that I would say probably 80% of the people that was back at the VR part were just normal people like me. They decided to wade through and went on back there,
yeah.
and I got a chance to talk to a lot of them. And one of the questions was, how did you get into VR? And what was the thing that kept you from doing it the most? And you would be amazed what the answer was. I thought it was going to be, well, I didn't want to get motion sick or something like that. Do you know that probably 70-80% of the people said the thing that kept me from trying VR is because I didn't want to look silly in front of all of them people when I was just standing in the room waving my arms around and with this thing on my face. And it was the embarrassment factor. I don't want people to see me looking silly.
I mean,
Yeah, and that was the biggest part. And I was like, and they all said, once I put the headset on and was immersed in that environment, I was like, man, this is so cool. And that's how I was also. I mean, I wasn't never worried about looking silly,
mhm.
but when I finally actually tried, my first thing that I did was this thing called supernatural workout in Meta.
Okay.
And I seen it advertised, and I was getting ready to have my first of two knee replacement surgeries, and I wanted to make sure that I was in pretty good physical fit. to do it. So I said, I need to start working out. And I don't like going to the gym. I don't like walking. I don't like doing all the traditional stuff. So I got the cardio workout called Supernatural. And that was in 22 or in 2022. And I still use it today. I mean, it's part of my daily routine. I get in and do 30-minute supernatural workout every day.
Yeah. I mean, sort of as timeline or time scale, like as far as your game, like you said, you haven't built it yet. Like when do you that like you'll have like either something to show or like video or anything from like the game?
I've got what I'm calling a cinematic vertical slice
Okay, yeah.
being built right now.
Okay.
I'm hopefully in about 3 weeks, I'll be able to put it up on LinkedIn.
Gotcha.
I am going to, I don't know if you're familiar with this or not, but AWE convention in Long Beach.
Okay.
That gives me or affords me the opportunity to be in front of an investor community. And I will be there seeking investment and whatnot from that. I have a presence on LinkedIn even now, and I've been being seen there. I've had 2 investors reach out to me there already, but the drawback there was they want my full GDD, which they're not getting. And you know they wanted some IP control. I'm way too early in development to be trying to give up any kind of control. Interest in and of itself was proof of concept to me. You know, it told me, okay, I'm building this thing in the right direction. And I actually have, I guess you could call it in theory, a complete game already done. I have the GDD from beginning to end. I have the systems, I have the overlays, I have all of that, and I've actually with the use of AI created the actual gameplay on paper and had my AI units try to combat me with just paper knowledge.
Yeah.
And it works there. So I know that if I can write it, you know, the old thing that our parents used to tell us, if you can see it, dream it, believe it, then you can complete it. And I've done all of that to the point of let's get it completed. I've had one of the guys that reached out to me was asking me about military applications to Operation Stealth because it's not just a game anymore. What I've actually created is a simulation.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it sounds like it's a military simulator now.
Yeah, yeah. And it didn't start off with the intention of being that deep.
Yeah.
But it just, like I said, as I started building and adding the next layer and the next layer, it just turned. And the one guy that reached out to me said, you know, have you ever thought about using this as a training tool? And at that point, I hadn't really thought that direction because I was still thinking I'm building a VR game.
Yeah.
And as we started talking and getting a little more in depth, and he started explaining and telling me, hey, you know that you have this application, you have this. And as far as military training and responsibility, that responsibility loop that you included in there is big. And I was like, okay, yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah.
And the thing that he pointed out to me was it's even got esports use. Not so much team esports, but head-to-head esports. Because you can put your side against, you know, your command thinking against an opponent's command thinking. So it becomes multiplayer in that way. You know, so I was like, another thing that, you know, I had thought about the
I was just going to say, it reminds me a little bit of, have you ever heard of the game Crusader Kings?
I have.
So it reminds me a little bit of that, but from Crusader Kings is more about medieval times and stuff like that, you know, back then. But as far as can be multiplayer, but I mean, you can play that game by yourself against the computer for hours and hours and still not see the same stuff. But I love me some simulation games. That's my jam. Like games like Suzerain, which is like not necessarily what you doing, but it's more words. You doing a lot of reading. It's but you also making choices and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Making sure basically running a country. And so having those responsibilities, like you said, is kind of important because most of the time, you know, if you like say you're doing a first person shooter or something, you die, you just come back. You know what I mean? Like it's
Right, right. The responsibility loop is gone because you're like, you know what? I'm just gonna die. I'm going head on, and there's no consequence to dying.
Right.
You know, and this thing that you lose a unit, they don't get to just come back automatic. You know, I mean, I built it to where there's 6 units that have to kind of work together.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get more than 6 units in the game. You can get up to 12.
Okay.
But they're resource management, and you got to create, collect, and do all of that in order to get additional units. But I built in a fail safe to where you're always going to have a minimum of 6 units.
Gotcha.
The problem is if one of those 6 gets killed at any point and you only have 6, the command center will regenerate the one that you lost, but there's a 1-minute delay.
Yeah, so you got to cool down, yeah.
So it takes that long for it to regenerate and rebuild before you get that unit back. And if that unit was one of your further advanced units, further out on the battlefield, advanced units,
it'd take them that long to get back.
now he regenerates back at the command center.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's got to move back toward that wherever you lost him at. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Put that in there, and then you said Sims. Let me show you. I'm into a different kind of sim.
Yeah, you see, I mean, that's what I'm sitting in. You see what I mean? I can't put it on. You can see my wheel kind of in the bottom, but right there with you. I just got my just playing Corsa. So
yeah, that was where I started Assetto Corsa.
Yeah,
so I had shoulder surgery, so I don't really play it like I used to.
Mm-hmm.
But my biggest kick, man, my nephews, they come over here for family. All of them 16, 16 to 25-year-olds.
Yeah.
Yeah, can we get on the sim?
Yeah,
yes, sir. You sure can. I mean, I got the bass kickers, the vibration.
So I used to have all of that stuff when I was younger, when I was a PlayStation kid. So I played a lot of Gran Turismo and stuff. But I'm going down the rabbit hole now. Now I'm, starting to really see how in depth it is. I said, now I'm kind of taking it serious. I'm doing practicing hot laps and everything. I'm like,
it's easy to get drawn in there, man. I'm telling you, because I started off with the little Logitech steering wheel, and man, I was like, man, this just feels too gamey. I got I'm in the Moza ecosystem.
Okay, yeah.
So I got all Moza steering wheel, pedals, shifters, everything I got is Moza. I got the Moza Pit House from software. I'm deep into that. Yeah. And then, like I told you, I got into the VR part, and that was immersion. But you can see back hanging on my chair here.
Mm-hmm.
That's right here. This is the vest that you put on.
Yeah.
And so if you in the first person shooters, when you get shot,
you can feel it.
You feel the. I'm into the Green Hell, which is a survival game that you play in the Amazon jungle.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And the other day I was playing, and I had a leopard come out of nowhere, jumped on my back.
That would make you not want to get hit, wouldn't it? Yeah.
And that leopard jumped on my back, and that thing. I was like, oh.
That's crazy. Now, out a little bit, kind of let people know how they can find you. Plug yourself, plug your game one last time.
I'm on LinkedIn. And it's Operation Stealth Citadel Command. And I'm on LinkedIn as Stephen Davis. Type in on LinkedIn Operation Stealth, you'll find me. I'm gonna have the cinematic vertical slice.
Mm-hmm.
Should be posted then. That's my sister back there.
Okay. You said
everybody started coming in. This is the game room, so
This
that's
where everybody gonna be. Yeah.